All right, let's get one thing straight. This isn't going to be another how to trade guide. Nope. This is about the price you pay. It's a story, a journey really, about the very real, often hidden human costs of a life spent staring at the markets.
You know the feeling, right? It all starts right here. That strange moment when you fund an account for the very first time. The number on the screen, it's just pixels, but it feels like so much more. It's possibility. It's a secret. Maybe it's even a whole different life. And look, that's pretty much the universal starting point for anyone who's ever gone down this road.
So what we're going to do is follow that number. Think of it like a staircase, 7 distinct levels. And with each step we take, something new gets revealed. Not just about the market, but about the person who's watching it. This is a story about what's gained and, maybe more importantly, what's lost.
Okay, here we go. Level 1. The first deposit. This is the seed. It's the very beginning of the whole journey. It's like a door just suddenly opens in a wall you've been staring at your entire life.
So there it is, $500. Maybe you funded it late on a Tuesday night. And let's be honest, it was probably with money that was meant for something else. Something responsible. And you definitely don't tell anyone. Not at this stage. It's a secret, just between you and the screen.
And then, this happens. Your first win. $43. It's nothing, right? But the feeling? Wow. It's not just happiness. It's something way more powerful. It feels like proof, like confirmation that you see something everyone else is missing, that you've got some kind of special insight. And that feeling, it is absolutely intoxicating.
But here's where it gets really interesting. What happens when you lose? You'd think it would make you cautious, right? Nope. It does the exact opposite. It makes you want to dive right back in now. You got to prove the market wrong. You got to fix that mistake. So at this level, a loss doesn't slow you down. It actually speeds you up.
And that acceleration, well, it leads us straight to the next level. This is where the stakes start to get higher. The psychology gets way more complex, and a really subtle but critical act of self-deception starts to creep in.
So now the account balance is $5,000. Suddenly, those numbers have real weight. A small percentage loss isn't just a number anymore. You literally feel it in your chest. Every single click of the mouse carries a much heavier emotional punch.
And this is where people start keeping 2 sets of books. You know what I mean? The big wins, like that $340 score, oh yeah, that gets written down. That's skill. But the big losses, well, those get quietly refilled from your real bank account. And that little deposit, it never makes it into the notebook. You're basically starting to edit your own history.
And this is such a critical turning point. The goal actually shifts. It's not really about making money anymore. It's about protecting the story. The story that you're a winner, that you've got this all figured out. And that narrative, it starts to become more valuable than the money in the account. Okay, so let's move on. We're now entering the professional stages. This is where the hobby dies and a real identity gets forged. It's also where all those early illusions about the market, they just start to shatter, and the real price of this game starts to come into focus. $100,000. Think about that. A year ago, that number would have felt like a complete fantasy. But now, it's just your working balance. It's a tool. And the fact that it doesn't even feel remarkable anymore, that right there is the first sign that something deep inside you has changed. This is where you finally shed all those old beliefs. You realize trading isn't about hot tips from some guy on Twitter or finding secret patterns in the charts. You finally see it for what it is. A game of statistics. A brutal zero-sum game where your tiny edge only works over a huge number of trades. And you need enough capital to just survive the swings. Look, that's not being cynical. That's just clarity. And this is where the cost becomes real, tangible. It doesn't show up on your P&L statement. It shows up in your life. A relationship ends, and there wasn't even a big fight. It just ends with this quiet observation. You're there physically, but your mind, it's always on the market. And there's nothing to argue about because you know it's true. And the success, it keeps building. But it doesn't bring the joy you thought it would. Instead, it just brings this new kind of weight, a constant, low-level pressure, and this really deep, creeping isolation. $2 million. At this kind of scale, you're not even a person with a skill anymore. You're a structure, an entity. Your trading is now a small business with lawyers, accountants, compliance, the whole shebang. The game isn't the same. It is fundamentally changed. And your social life, it just shrinks dramatically.
Remember those early days, the excitement in Discord servers and forums? All that is gone. Now, your interactions are formal meetings. Everyone's talking, but they're also measuring. Nobody's showing their full hand. Every conversation is guarded.
And that's just the cold reality of this new world you're in. Yeah, you'll get professional respect, and people will have a strategic interest in you. But let's be clear, those things are not the same as friendship. It's all transactional. That warmth, that real human connection, it's just gone.
Which brings us to the final level, the top of the staircase. This is the apex of the whole journey, and it's where complete mastery reveals the ultimate and most unexpected cost of all.
8 figures. We're talking a level of capital where all the little frictions of daily life, they're just gone. But here's the thing. Taking away money problems doesn't magically create happiness. What it produces instead is this cold, detached clarity. And you find yourself thinking back, remembering that very first win, that $43. You remember the physical jolt you felt. And you realize that feeling was only possible because the stakes were, well, they were comprehensible. The outcome was genuinely a surprise. That visceral, real experience, it's now just a very distant memory.
And here we are. This is the real point of it all, the final price you pay. It isn't the money you lost along the way, or the time, or even the relationships. The real cost is the death of surprise. It's when every possible outcome just flattens into cold, calculated expectation. Nothing the market does can ever surprise you again. You'll never feel that jolt again.
And so the whole story comes full circle. You're the detached professional now. You watch the market open, and you see the ghosts of your past. All that frantic clicking from the new traders, brimming with a confidence that you know is just ignorance. You were them once. The screen flickers. You place an order. It's not exciting. It's just a reflex.
So we end right where we started. Somewhere right now, some new trader is staring at their first $500, and they think this whole game is about that number on the screen. They just don't get it yet. The real profits and the real losses, they aren't measured in dollars. So the only question left is, what will their story cost?